One thing kind of leads to another, and that's why it becomes really important to be conscious, especially when you are laying the foundation of your child's childhood. There are so many factors involved, but actually, one of the most important ones is something we call the circadian rhythm. Now, before that sounds too technical, let us just understand it simply. We all know what a clock is, right? We look at it to manage our day, when to wake up, when to eat, when to work. But in a very similar way, there is also a kind of clock inside our body. Not a real one, of course, but something very natural, something that tells our body how to feel at different times of the day. And the interesting thing is, this intelligence inside the body is very quiet. It doesn't speak in words, but still it guides us every single day. It tells us when to feel active, when to slow down, when to relax, and when to rest. And this natural system is what we call the circadian rhythm. If I say it very simply, it's like the body's internal clock, not something you hang on a wall, but a rhythm that lives within you. It responds to light and darkness, to activity and stillness. As evening comes, it starts preparing the body for sleep, and as morning light enters, it gently wakes the body up. Now, for children, this rhythm is even more sensitive. Their body learns patterns very quickly. Whatever they experience again and again, they start following that. And when this rhythm is in alignment, you will actually see the difference. It supports their growth, their emotional balance, their focus, overall well-being. But then the question is, what happens when this rhythm gets disturbed? And this is where we really need to stop for a moment and look at what's happening around us today. If you observe carefully, in many homes, children are slowly drifting away from this natural rhythm. They are sleeping later than what their body actually needs. And yes, sometimes they might still get enough hours of sleep, but the timing is not aligned with their internal clock. And this didn't happen suddenly, right? It kind of entered our lives very quietly. Late night screen time, irregular routines, too much stimulation, academic pressure, even our own family habits. All of this little by little has pushed bedtime further into the night. And over time, it starts showing its effect. Not always loudly, but definitely visibly. You might notice your child struggles to wake up in the morning. Even after long sleep, they still look tired, energy feels low, small things start irritating them, patience reduces, focus becomes difficult, and sometimes it goes even deeper than that. We are seeing more emotional struggles in children these days. Restlessness, mood swings, anxiety. Of course, there are many reasons, but disturbed sleep patterns play a very important role here. And one important thing to understand is, this is not about a lack of discipline. It is actually about a lack of alignment. The body is not refusing to rest. It's just not getting rest in the way it is designed to. And that brings us to a very important point. Sleep is not only about how many hours a child sleeps, it is also about when they sleep. The early part of the night has a very different quality of rest. This is when the body is doing its deeper work, growth, brain development, emotional settling, internal repair. So when children sleep late again and again, they slowly start missing this important phase. And that's why you will see two children can sleep for the same number of hours but wake up feeling completely different. So if the issue is not just less sleep but misaligned sleep, then the solution cannot be force. It has to start with awareness. As parents, the first step is not to correct the child immediately but to observe. Just look at your evenings. Notice the pace of your home. Notice when your child naturally starts feeling sleepy, and then what keeps them awake beyond that point. Many times, the real answer is not at bedtime, but in that 1 or 2 hours before it. Children need a transition from activity to rest, and this transition doesn't have to be strict. It can be very gentle. Instead of suddenly saying, go to sleep early, just begin to slow down, think, maybe dim the light or reduce the screen time or create a calmer environment. Even small things help, just sitting together, talking softly, maybe reading something light. These are not rules, they are signals. And when the body starts receiving these signals regularly, it begins to respond slowly. A rhythm starts forming, not because it was forced, but because it was felt. And you can even involve your child in this very simply. You might say something like this to them: hey, your body has its own clock. When you sleep at the right time, you feel stronger, your mind feels clearer, and you feel happier during the day. You are not really teaching them, you are just helping them notice. You can even try small experiments together. You can tell them, hey, let us sleep a little earlier today and see how we feel tomorrow. And then just observe. When they wake up feeling fresh, when their mood feels lighter, when the day feels smoother, that experience becomes their learning. Because real learning doesn't come from being told, it comes from feeling the difference. So, as parents, you are not trying to control your child's routine, you are simply helping them reconnect with something that already exists within them. The rhythm is already there, it just needs to be respected. And sometimes, the smallest, gentlest shifts create the deepest changes. Thank you.